Hello and a very good evening. As promised, we are back again with this last live broadcast, hopefully the last live broadcast for today. It has been a very, very long day, and it has been a long day primarily because today is 27th of August. On this very day, the call was given for Nabanna Abhijan by Paschim Bongo Chhatra Samaj. This 27th of August 2024 comes 19 days after the brutal rape and murder of the 31-year-old PGT Archicor medical student. 19 days, and I repeat, 19 days. For 19 days, the wait has been for justice. And in these 19 days, many people have defined justice in different ways as they wanted. And today was another day where people had taken to street as their definition of justice, with the call that they want to march towards the state secretariat, Nabanna, demanding resignation of the chief minister. And what happened today? Today, as a day, has been mired in incidents of violence, not one or two, many. We are reporting from Lalbazar, and this very spot had been the final flashpoint place where BJP workers led by BJP leaders including Shukanto Mojo, state BJP president Loket Chatterjee had come down. Paschim Bongo Chhatra Samaj, as they claim themselves to be an apolitical body, but had received the support of BJP as a political party. Paschim Bongo Chhatra Samaj, from who student wing organizations have distanced themselves, but BJP had supported them. And as they had claimed to take out a protest rally, asking people to join them voluntarily, we are not really sure whether people had joined them voluntarily or not. But at the end of the day, as the day was ending, we also saw BJP leaders and BJP workers with BJP flags in their hands had assembled out here at Lalbazar. And this is the barricade which was put up to stop them, because they wanted to go inside Lalbazar, not really sure either to submit a deputation or maybe they wanted a release of those who have been arrested. And this very point had been the final flashpoint point. I'll ask my producer Orko to play those visuals full frame. Play those visuals full frame and show as how the kind of violence unfolded right here. Tear gas shells, pepper shells were fired to disperse the crowd. Protesters tried challenging the barricade, break the barricade and get inside Lalbazar. This is the very spot where the protesters had assembled and the protesters wanted to go inside. They were stopped, and thus ugly confrontation had ensued. And thus we are reporting from Lalbazar. Outside Lalbazar, 7 layers of barricades have been put up. And 7 layers of barricades tell the story of the confrontation that unfolded. And the ugly confrontation also saw that tear gas shells were fired, pepper shells were fired to disperse the crowd. If this is how the day ended, how did the day start? We will come to that later. But as the day unfolded, multiple incidents of violence were reported. Multiple incidents of violence. Protesters without carrying any party flags, some carrying posters, some carrying placards, some carrying Indian flag, had tried marching towards the state secretariat. Now please understand, state secretariat, like everywhere else, in Uttar Pradesh, in Himachal Pradesh, in Uttarakhand, in Rajasthan, in Madhya Pradesh, in Punjab, in Orissa, in Manipur, in Nagaland, everywhere, in Tripura, the state secretariat, in every other state, comes under section 163 of BNSS, similar to section 144, that essentially prohibits assembling of people, gathering, that essentially prohibits any kind of protest in and around the state secretariat. It is the seat of power, highly secured a zone. The ministers, the chief minister, they all sit in the state secretariat. Bengal's state secretariat, it was no different, but they wanted to march there and they were certainly stopped. And thus, everywhere they were stopped, confrontation happened. BJP has now called for a 12-hour bund. 12-hour bund has been called by BJP. in protest against what really happened today. They are saying it was a peaceful protest and police had resorted to excesses. Police on their part have maintained that protesters had thrown stones. Is it true? At least in 3 places we can confirm that while protesters claimed that it was a peaceful protest, then from sky we had seen stones falling on the surface. We have literally dug them. Some of the police people could not, and thus they're injured. Now, where did these stones and bricks come from? It's a question that is there for everyone, protesters to the police. But then the very presence of stones coming from air raise a question as whether it was indeed a peaceful protest or not. Now, BJP has called for a 12-hour bund, and this bund is in protest against what really happened today. The state has vociferously objected to this call of protest and highlighted the Bombay High Court order. The Bombay High Court recently, in a similar situation of protest over the brutal rape of a school-going minor, bund was called by the opposition, and the Bombay High Court has said that bund is not the solution. Bund cannot be an answer in democracy, and that's the reason the bund has been called. Highlighting that Bombay High Court order, the appeal has been given to one and all not to follow this bund, and the state has made it very, very clear that the bund will not be accepted and that they will not be endorsing that bund, which means all governments would remain open, and they have urged all private offices, government offices to remain open. The state ADG law and order, senior officers, IG rank officers held a press conference, and we will play the sound bites now, as they had called this what happened today as nothing but hooliganism, as they fear and also allege patronized and fueled by some political force, presumably some political force. Here's what Supratim Sarkar had said.
পর্যাপ্ত ব্যবস্থা থাকছে এবং আমরা দেখব জনজীবন যাতে কোনো রকম ভাবে কোনো দিক থেকে ব্যাহত না হয়, রাজ্য সচল থাকবে। আন্দোলনকারীরা এলেন পশ্চিমবঙ্গের ছাত্র সমাজ উই ওয়ান্ট জাস্টিস প্ল্যাকার্ড নিয়ে, তারপর ব্যারিকেড ধরে সাঁতরাগাছি হোক কি হাওড়া ময়দান হোক কি ফোরশোর রোড হোক, ব্যারিকেড ধরে তারা ঝাঁপানো শুরু করলেন। ব্যারিকেড ধরে ঝাঁকানো শুরু হলো। পুলিশ তখন বারবার, একবার নয় একাধিকবার লাউড হেলারে বারবার ঘোষণা করতে থাকে শান্তিপূর্ণ আন্দোলন করুন, প্ররোচনায় পা দেবেন না, এটা সংরক্ষিত এলাকা, ব্যারিকেড ভাঙবেন না। তার ভিডিও রেকর্ডিং আপনারাও দেখিয়েছেন, আমাদের কাছেও আছে। কিন্তু তারপর কি ঘটলো আমরা দেখেছি। ব্যারিকেড ভাঙা হলো, পুলিশের অনুরোধে কর্ণপাত করা হলো না, সাঁতরাগাছি দিয়ে শুরু, ব্যারিকেড ভাঙা, গার্ডরেল উল্টোনো, পুলিশের দিকে লাঠি সোটা বোতল বৃষ্টি, অনর্গল লাগাতার ইট পাথর বৃষ্টি, সরকারি সম্পত্তি ভাঙচুর, পুলিশকে মারধর করা, পুলিশকে রক্তাক্ত করা, আহত করা, গাড়ি জ্বালিয়ে দেয়া। আমরা দেখতে পেলাম পশ্চিমবঙ্গ ছাত্র সমাজের আন্দোলনের নামে একদল দুষ্কৃতীদের বেপরোয়া বেলাগাম বিশৃঙ্খল তাণ্ডব। তাণ্ডব ছাড়া আর কি বিশেষণ প্রয়োগ করা যায় আমরা জানি না। তাণ্ডব বোধহয় খুব নরম বিশেষণ হলো। বন্ধ নিয়ে পর্যাপ্ত ব্যবস্থা থাকছে এবং আমরা দেখব জনজীবন যাতে কোনো রকম ভাবে
that the violence that happened today cannot be the handiwork of students, saying that students will not resort to such vandalism, that students will not try to challenge the barricades, because there were clear attempts made to break the barricades and then march towards the state secretariat, and also at the same time stones and bricks were pelted at police people. How many police people have sustained injuries? 15 police people have sustained injuries. 15 police people have sustained injuries. And if we talk about the kind of assault that has happened on them, these are the kind of visuals you would try and play on a second window, that how police had been brutally assaulted, not at one place in Howrah alone, but also at different places. Everywhere police had tried resisting them. They had also had come under the ire of the angry mob, and police people were literally assaulted by protesters. Now, many police people have sustained injuries on their head. At least 15 of them are now hospitalized. Senior police officers are hospitalized. And while nobody would say that you need to over empathize or sympathize with police people, but at the same time the counter and the argument should be that they are also human beings with flesh and blood, and they were only doing their duty. If the anger is it justified to channelize your anger and unleash it on police people? Do they not have the right to life? Ask yourself. We all want justice. We are all angry with this horrific crime. We want stringent punishment for whoever is involved. We want punishment to be given to the accused as soon as possible. Exemplary punishment should be given. And public anger is certainly justified. Public anger is justified. We do not accept such brutal crime in a civil society. And especially after 78 years of our independence, where we have so many funds for women's safety and security. And thus we do not appreciate what has happened. Yet, while we want justice to reverberate, echo till justice is being done, would we want to call this as the call for justice? Would we want to call this as justice? Assaulting police people. And thus, these are the visuals. Watch them carefully. Before taking any stand, before being angry on certain things, ask yourself, we want justice is acceptable. Do we want violence? Is that acceptable? Supreme Court clearly said that peaceful protest is the right of everyone. State should not unleash its power on protesters. Would you say what happened today was a peaceful protest? Where did the stones come from? Not really insinuating anything or blaming anyone, purely asking this question. Where did these stones come from? There had been moments where you have literally seen people hurling stones. Because you have not been able to confront them, hurled stone and ran away, we are unsure about the identities. While a 12-hour bund has been called, it has been negated by the state government. This is what State Minister Chandrima Bhattacharjee had to say.
Sir,
one line regarding tomorrow's strike called by the
Supreme Court had said that peaceful protest should be allowed. Would you call what happened today a peaceful protest?
And I was just asking myself, and along with that, I would also be very humbly putting this question to all of you, that did you see it to be a protest which is peaceful? Was it a preconceived protest which was actually thought of to be not peaceful? So therefore, we have all seen how the police has acted, how the police, they have acted even in spite of so much provocation. They had been insulted, stones have been thrown at them. You have seen that bloodsheds of police, and even then police has done their duty. Isn't it a great thing that they have done, a great job that they have done? The police, they have done whatever they were required to do.
Ma'am,
যেটা চন্দ্রিমাদি বলেছেন, আমি খালি আরেকবার মহারাষ্ট্রের যে বিরোধী দল তাদের আমি ধন্যবাদ জানাবো যে যেভাবে মহারাষ্ট্র সরকার অনুরোধ করেছিলেন বন্ধ তুলে নেওয়ার জন্য বিজেপি সরকার সেটার ডাকে সাড়া দিয়ে এই বিরোধীরা বদলাপুরের মতো ঘটনা ঘটা সত্ত্বেও যেভাবে বন্ধ প্রত্যাহার করেছেন এবং সেখানে কোর্টের নির্দেশে আমরা চাইবো পশ্চিমবঙ্গেও বিজেপি যেটা যে আচরি আপনি আচরি ধর্ম পরের শিখাও, মহারাষ্ট্রে যে ধর্ম ওরা পালন করেছেন এখানেও বিরোধী দল হিসেবে সেই দায়িত্ব তারা পালন করবেন।
Sir, we have seen the CCTV video. We have seen the CCTV video where the four gentlemen part of Paschim Bongo Chhatra Samaj had entered into the Hyatt Hotel. Now, while police have confirmed that they have tried meeting a political leader, can you confirm which political leader he had met?
No, I have no idea. Police can see it because I have no idea who went there in the five-star hotel in near bypass. I have seen like you in the media, so I have no information who the actual BJP leader is. I think today, just after ourselves, the administrative police part, they will come and they will brief a press note. So I think you can ask them.
And regarding tomorrow.
So you heard state leaders, state ministers literally condemning as what really happened today. We will try and show you a couple of visuals of police people who have sustained injuries. And I'm not saying that only police people have sustained injuries. There are protesters too who have sustained injuries. There are journalists who have sustained injuries. We have literally had death as we saw these kind of bricks falling. And we're not trying to oversympathize with police people. I say anyone and everyone injured today did not deserve this. And thus we ask, while we all want justice, do we also want violence? Because police or protesters or journalists or common people, whoever has suffered today, they have only and only been victims of the violence that unfolded today. I want to play one visual which was caught on our camera. A woman protester was literally seen abusing police people, actually abusing left, right, center. Filthy abuses. I don't know how much my producer has been able to beep them, but those words would make you very, very angry. Doesn't really matter whether those words are there common in the parlance or not, but we all agree those words are unacceptable in a civilized society. And to hurl those abuses to a man in uniform, doesn't matter whether police or army officer, is condemnable. And today I saw this, a woman using choicest of sexist abuses for a police officer, bringing his mother, bringing his daughter, and making every abuse a sexist abuse, while she was also part of this entire protest demanding justice for an Arjikor medical student doctor who has been a woman, and her heart bleeds for her. Here is the woman who has used abuses revolving around a woman. Only difference is the abuses were directed to a police officer, and thus those abuses were in a way channelized through the mother and the sister of the police officer. This is the sequence. One full frame.
এইটা পুলিশ আছে কলকাতা পুলিশ হায় হায় কলকাতা পুলিশ হায় হায় কলকাতা পুলিশ হায় হায় এত বড় হিম্মত মেয়েদের গায়ে তুলতা যেই মেয়েটা নির্যাতন হলো তখন এদিকে সেটাকে চাপা দিতে হবে তো সেটাকে চাপা দেবে সেটাকে চাপা দেবে 14 তারিখে আমরা মিছিল বেরিয়েছি আর এই সুরা গিয়ে আরজি কলে ভরা কাছে তলা ঢুকবো আরে বড় তখন করতে পারিস নি ছেলে তখন কোথায় ছিলিস কোথায় ছিলিস না কোথায় ছিলিস কোথায় ছিল সেদিন আর ঘুম ভাঙেনি তখন আর এখন আর বললে
You heard it? You heard it right. And thus I say, very humbly I ask you all, while you all agree to this chorus, which is getting louder, that we all want justice, but do you want this? What are we trying to set as an example? A crime has happened and we all want justice. We want to know the truth. A truth which is now literally shrouded so many theories, fake information. Common people are literally in disbelief and unsure as what is true and what is not. A section of media has also added fuel to it, and I let all of them be. But today what you have witnessed, is this the right path for seeking justice? At this point in time, Orko, if the visuals are ready of the police people who have sustained injuries, if they're properly blurred, show them. 50 officers have sustained injuries and they're now hospitalized. I'm sure there are protesters too who have sustained injuries. And you only hope and pray, everybody, whether it's police, protester, journalists, common people, they all get well soon. And most importantly, we all get justice. Before I wind up, I want to remind one and all, it's been 19 days. And every day that I come on live on this very story, I would keep reminding you of the day count. We don't want a grab of a CCTV. We don't want to know what's there in the FIR anymore. We want to know the truth. It's been 90 days that the entire state, city, and the country is shaken by this horrific crime. It's been 19 days that we are wanting a closure. We are wanting justice. People are yearning for justice. It's been 19 days. 19 days and the wait is on. Unsure, the wait would get over. But for sure, at this point in time, lots happening on the ground. Lots happening on the ground. Today there was a law violation. Tomorrow there is a bund. And on top of everything, there is a sublayer where there are common people literally yearning for justice. They see this as their right. They see this incident very, very personally. I see this incident very, very personally. My entire team sees this as very, very personally. We have been reporting on this relentlessly for the past 19 days. From meeting the family to the doctors to have gone to the Arjikar Medical College and Hospital to have spoken to so many people who are not direct stakeholders, but they have only erupted in this emotion called shock and anger. They're all asking for justice. And for all of us who are absolutely united in this very longing for justice, it's just a reminder. It's been just 19 days. The matter is with CBI. Supreme Court is in custody of the case. Supreme Court has intervened. Supreme Court has given certain directions. But CBI probing the matter, it's been over a fortnight that the matter has been with them. We are only hoping and praying the truth comes out. Before I wind up, I leave this question once again. While we all want justice, do we want violence at the same time? And as I leave you with a roundup of our day, as we have covered violence and this ugly confrontation from Howrah to Kar. Watch this report, which we have filed through our live broadcast through the day. My video journalist Shuman Gupta, myself, Titash Mukherjee, another video journalist Soni Shatra, Orko Shaha, my producer and editor who is behind the camera maintaining the switch, Suprav, who had been equally maintaining the switch. You all have been working since morning. And this is how our day unfolded, and this is what you witnessed. I leave you with this. Good night and take care. Moved out here. The barricades are now being in charge of over here. Just a short while back, we need to be very, very careful if something flies on ahead. So just a short while back, the protesters who were assembled here, holding posters and placards, they had tried breaking the barricades and the barricades were thrown open. Thereafter, 2 rounds of tear gas shells were fired and we have seen the crowd getting dispersed. There are services on the either side and people have tried getting inside Shatragachi railway station area. So the forces have now advanced. The forces were limited up till this very point, and now the forces have now advanced. Again, I repeat, the crowd wasn't that much. The crowd was roughly about 100 odd people who had assembled out here, and over there they have now sat down to mark their demonstration. But then what you need to be very, very careful about, such holes are there. From there people are also coming in. Over there on the road, the protesters have sat down. Forces have now advanced. The water cannon has not been fired as yet, but then tear gas shells were fired.
you can see, in addition to the onlookers in addition to the protesters over here, there are a number of onlookers who have joined the protesters over here in protest, trying to, kind of move forward. Right over here, there is an attempt being made to breach through the barricades and move forward. You can see someone is climbing up, someone is climbing up to the banner, and I think the police will now take action. And the police is now ready and trying to tell the people, tell the protesters to move back. But you can see that one person has already climbed atop the barricade and in an attempt trying to dislodge it. Two people are seated on top of the barricade and people on the other side are trying to dislodge it. The police are trying to pacify it through dialogue and are trying to, make peaceful amends. But then you can see the barricade is being breached. The barricade here at the Howrah Maidan area is currently trying to be breached by the protesters over here. So far, the police has made about 4 microphonic announcements asking the protesters not to advance or not to move forward, as this essentially is a peaceful protest and they do not want anything untoward to happen. But you just saw that people climbed atop the barricade in an attempt to breach it and move forward. You can see over here that the water cannon machine, which was placed over here, is now slowly advancing towards the barricade. Okay, so I think they are successful in breaching. Okay, water cannons have been fired here at the Howrah Maidan area. You can see that the police have now resorted to, firing water cannons. They tried to engage in dialogue. They tried to pacify the crowds through dialogue. But we saw that the crowd, did not quite listen to their warnings, did not quite pay heed to their warnings, and the situation is such that they are only progressing further. Okay, so you can see that this particular gentleman, he was police officer. He was hurt in the helter and skelter. He was hurt as a stone was pelted at the forces by the protesters on that side.
Check out the